You can absolutely manifest your dream house, and I'm going to show you how in this video. But first I want to tell you how we got here. So I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment with my wife and daughter in Los Angeles, and the pandemic hit. We had no way to pay our bills, really. We were struggling financially, but we always had this vision. We're going to get to this in a second. But basically, all the tennis courts are locked down. I'm a tennis coach. And we're figuring out, how am I going to teach lessons so I can pay the bills? And it's really scary. We're running out of money. And all of a sudden, one day, I get a call from a friend who says, I just met this lady that says she knew you 9 years ago. And she said she's got this house in Tarzana. I live in Tarzana. And if you ever need the house to teach a tennis court on, please be my guest. And so I call her and I say, Vanya, this is so amazing. Like, I can't believe this happened. It's like so coincidental. And we talk, we have this great conversation. And I end the conversation by saying, one day we'll just buy the house from you and we'll call it a day. And we had no way to do that. Obviously, we were barely paying our bills. But she says, come over. We should talk about this because I've been looking for somebody just like you. And so we go over for dinner, and she says, I need to sell this house, I need to get rid of it, and you guys are the perfect couple. Would you please take the house? And we'll figure out all the payment stuff later. And so we say, yeah, thank you, this is amazing, but there's no way we could do that. And we walk away. And this goes on 3 or 4 times before eventually we say, we'd be crazy not to do this. This has been our dream. This is how my wife and I met on the tennis court, and we've always wanted our house with a tennis court. So we say, all right, we're going to do it. Come to find out that I had taught this lady 9 years ago on this very court that we're on right now. And I want to show you how I went from struggling, barely paying the bills, to owning a house in Los Angeles with a tennis court. And how you can apply this very same formula to anything, whether you want a dream home, you want the perfect relationship, you want more energy, you want more money, you want more love, whatever it is. It's a very simple formula, and if you followed Neville Goddard and Dr. Joe Dispenza and Abraham Hicks, this will start to sound familiar, but it's really about the execution. So as we know, you might know, probably know, we're all energy, right? So if you look at our body with a powerful enough microscope, we're 99.99999% energy and empty space. But that energy carries a frequency. And that frequency carries information. And our thoughts and our feelings produce an electromagnetic frequency that our body emits that connects to everything in our universe, everything in our world. And when there is a vibrational match from your energy to the energy of your future, whatever it is, you begin to draw the thing to you. That's the law of attraction in a nutshell. But we go deeper because it's not just enough to think about what you want. We need 2 things. We need a clear intention. Okay, that's the picture of the thing that you want. So you want a home, a beautiful home. Picture it in the most vivid detail that you can imagine. Feel the banister that you're walking up and down the stairs with. Imagine the carpet underneath your feet. What color is it? How many rooms is it? You have a pool in it? How many kids do you have? The whole 9 yards. You get really clear about that. And now the second thing is the emotion. So we need a thought and an emotion, okay? The head and the heart. The thought is the electrical signal, and the feeling is the magnetic signal. So the thought sends the signal out, the feeling draws the experience to us. So we have to think about the thing that we want to create. And when we do, we need to combine that with a very powerful, positive, elevated emotion. So gratitude, love, joy, inspiration, being in love with life. The challenge with this, obviously, is we tend to live in lack. We tend to live in these emotions where I don't have enough. I'm separate from the thing that I want. And as we get into this material on this channel, we're going to get into why everything is connected and how when you are truly present in a state where you are able to program the subconscious mind, you're actually able to change your energy. And when you change your energy, you are changing what you are attracting into your life. It's exactly how this house found us. So we weren't looking for a million homes. We weren't on Zillow and, cruising around town like, oh, look at that house. I bet it has a tennis court. It came to us. And it has to come to you, because if you're creating whatever you want to create, and you can predict it, then by definition, you're creating it based on your current level of perception and your current level of awareness. And our current level of awareness is infinitely limited, because there's only so much that we can know of what's actually out there. We're going to get into that in more future videos. So how do you get into this state where you can begin to program the subconscious mind? Well, we want to be in a meditative state. We want to get into the slower brain waves of alpha and theta. So as we're talking right now, you're probably in a level of low to mid-range beta. Maybe you're listening to this at night and you're, slipping into alpha and into theta. Alpha and theta is where we get into the operating system. And it's where the conscious mind and the subconscious mind begins, and what separates the conscious and the subconscious mind is the analytical mind, is the thinking mind. So as we slip into these slower brain waves, that line of the analytical mind begins to disappear, and we can go right into the subconscious. Now here's the formula for getting into the subconscious. There's a lot of ways to do this. Neville talks about getting into a state akin to sleep, and Dr. Joe talks about slowing down the brain waves. And he's got a very great formula that I love, and I've learned a lot from Dr. Joe. And here it is. So we have two types of focus. We have a convergent focus, which is when we narrow our focus on a particular point or thought. And then we have a divergent focus that is sensing space around our body, or just space in general. And convergent focus, that direct focus, is very much associated with extreme concentration. And it's usually associated with those fight or flight sensations. Your parents tell you, watch out for that thing. Don't touch that stove. Don't cross the street. Stop rooting for the Dodgers. Okay, sorry. I'm a Padres fan. So the divergent focus gets us into these slower brain waves. And when you begin to sense space, your brain waves begin to slow down, and you begin to develop this thing called coherence, where the brain waves start to get very orderly and the heart starts to beat very rhythmically. And now you're creating an amplitude of energy that is larger than you normally do. So when we're in this state of fight or flight, our thoughts are scattered, our energy is sort of chaotic. I'm sure you've experienced that. If you've ever been on the freeway in LA, you know what I mean. And that is like a very weak Wi-Fi signal. But when we have this coherence, we have that clear intention, and we have elevated emotions, and our heart and our brain are synchronized, and the energy is synchronized, now we've got a very powerful signal, a very magnetic signal, that we're able to send the thought out and draw the experience to us. So as you begin to get into this meditative state, by sensing the space around your body, your analytical mind will start to quiet down. And once you're in that place where you're not thinking a whole lot, you're just sort of relaxed, that is the perfect time to begin to rehearse exactly what you're going to see, what you're going to feel, what you're going to experience when you manifest the thing, whatever it is, the dream home, the money, the relationship, the car, whatever you want. You begin to experience that, and you begin to feel those feelings as if you're actually experiencing it in the present moment. And when you do that, the mind and the body don't know the difference between what's real and then what's vividly imagined. So we're beginning to actually lay down neurological circuits in the brain to look like that experience has already happened. And when you combine it with the emotion, you're conditioning the heart, and you're conditioning all of these hormonal centers or chakras to release very certain hormones which signal genes, and the genes make proteins. The proteins are responsible for the makeup of your body, and you begin to emanate this new energy that's pulling the experience to you. And as you do this, and as you rehearse it, and as you do it over and over again, just like if you were learning to hit a forehand or a backhand or a serve, or any skill, you play the piano, you play music, the more you do it, the better you get at it. and the more it becomes automatic, and it just becomes who you are. And when it becomes who you are, that's when all of the synchronicities will come. So I was meditating every day for, I would say, 3 years, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, this is the time that I've got to put this to the test. And it was the hardest time because I was the most scared, I was the most unsure, I was in the unknown. And that was the moment, though, that I got really clear and I got really focused on creating this vision and staying with that vision no matter what. And that's when we got the call. So you can absolutely do this. I'm really curious about you, and I'd like to find out what you're working on and what you're manifesting and what kind of content I can make that might be able to help you. So love to hear what you think down in the comments down below. If you like this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button. This is my passion. This is what I absolutely love to do, almost more than anything. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.